Welcome back to Mariah's Garage. This is Queens and Mom Jeans podcast. I am your host, Kalyn, and I am with
Mariah.
And today we're going to talk about different parenting topics.
Yay.
The hardest topics of them all.
I think this is like the hardest one because, well, specifically the questions are
For sure. The questions are...
They're a little
dicey.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a little... Some of them are kind of emotional,
thinkers.
I feel like.
They are.
Yeah, some of them make me interested in how you're going to answer them.
Oh.
So, what are some of your parenting goals that you have?
A big thing for me is building a connection with my kids. It's really important to me, and having this very open and honest relationship with them, and teaching them how to be a parent as well.
Yeah, I feel like that's really important, is teaching them how to be a parent.
And to stop the cycle of closed-mindedness.
Amen. Amen.
And let their, imaginations run wild. Because so many times I feel like parents just... And they don't mean to. It's just when you get older, your imagination
your views change,
shrinks. And
the way you think about things are different.
Yeah. So
you're just in a different stage of life.
And also from, people, your parents or your other family members and people, saying, well, you can't do that.
Yes, you can.
So it
yes, you can.
It makes you shrink and shrink and shrink. And, I want to open that up.
That's a very good answer.
And I just want my kids to never lose that open-mindedness. They can do great things.
I want Elin to have open-mindedness about the world.
Mm-hmm.
Just in general. Different people, different backgrounds, different... I want her to realize that there's all kinds of different backgrounds. There's all kinds of different people in the world. So I totally understand that. I feel like I would want...
Exposing them
to... Oh, very much so. Yeah. I feel like our small town kind of keeps us in this circle, and I want to expose her to everything in the world that she could possibly have an interest in. I just feel like it's super important. But I think my biggest goal that I have with her is I always want open communication.
Mm-hmm.
Always. I want her to tell me anything in the world. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to judge you. I may say I'm disappointed in your decisions. Or I may say, that's fucking awesome. But I want it always to be an open line of communication. If you're mad at me, tell me.
Mm-hmm.
If you're happy with something I'm doing, tell me. I want to know what works for you.
Too.
I just want it to be honest. The whole thing, the whole way through. But I want to recognize Elin's passions in life. I feel like so many parents force
that's a good one.
College and force, extra education.
Mm-hmm.
And if she wants to do something that doesn't require school and it doesn't make a lot of money, but she loves it, let her do it.
Yeah.
Because I know that I felt like I was forced to get a further education, and I went to school to work on the ambulance, but I felt like it was required. But I
just did what everyone else did.
I love being at home.
I just followed the crowd.
Yeah, I felt like there was just such a stigma to be at home. And now that I'm at home, I can't imagine doing anything else. There's days that I miss the ambulance and going to school. But really, I love being at home. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Since I was young, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. It's just, when I grew up, I wanted to be a mom. And I feel like there was a lot of, well, you're worth so much more than that. I'm like...
But that's what I want.
But that's what I want.
Yeah. It took me a long time to realize that. Because Wes wanted me to stay at home for a long time. And I just was like, no, I need to work. I went to school for this. And it's I loved working on the ambulance. Mm-hmm. I did. I loved it, and I'd like to think I was pretty good at it. Like, I worked for a long time in it, but being at home and, like, just in my own space, that's where I'm supposed to be. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm meant to be, is in my own space. So I hope that I recognize what she wants to do and not force something on her. I try to tell her all the time she can do whatever she wants to do in life. But, you know, it takes hard work. But I want to support her in that, I guess.
I hope I can find Nora's thing that she's good at.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I ever found my thing. Like, I have so many different interests and talents, but I just never, like,
did anything with.
Figured it out.
Yeah, you just didn't,
So, I hope that I hope I can, like, expose her to so many different things that she can find something that she's really good at and loves, and...
Yeah, loves to do it and wants to do it.
Let her soar. Let her imagination run wild, and she can just...
do what makes her happy. I feel like so many people are stuck in there. Yeah, that's what I tell Elon all the time. Like, you're going to change the world one day. I don't know how yet, but you're going to change the world. I feel like that's really important. I feel like just the open communication and honesty is a huge goal of mine.
Yeah,
I just want her to tell me anything.
Nora to ever feel like she can't come to me for something.
Right. Or even at that, not even come to me, like go to you or go to Wes or go to... I want her to feel comfortable going to people that we're... I mean, you're her godmom. I want her to go to you for things that, you know, if she doesn't want to come to me, I want her to feel comfortable to go to you or go to Brandon or go to Wes or just someone that she can have that communication with. If it's not me, you know, but I want to teach her that it's important to have somebody like that.
And I want Nora to be able to tell me if she's upset with me as well. Yeah. We have this thing that we do, not every night, but if she's having a hard time going to sleep, she asks to talk about our feelings.
Oh,
so
that's
I take
great,
like
though.
10 minutes, and it's just like my favorite thing. We sit there and I ask her what she's feeling, and most of the time she'll tell me, and it has nothing to do with what she's saying, but just practicing it.
Yeah, but at least she's open to saying those things. I feel like you're instilling those things as a good parent into her that she'll do with her, you know, kids. She'll remember that forever.
She, a lot of times, will just, I don't know, some things at school bother her, and I just want her to be able to talk to me about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. I feel like that's a great parenting thing that you do, because if you continue to do that, she's going to grow up and remember that and be like, maybe I should talk to my children. Or even if she doesn't have children, you know, if she decides not to, maybe she'll just be like, well, I'm feeling this way. Like, I need to talk to my mom. Or, you know, like there's days you need to talk to somebody that you're close to. It's part of life. Yeah, you just need to tell somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want her to be able to go to, like, her dad, too.
Yeah.
And, anybody.
Very much so.
Like what you said, just
go to somebody.
Talk.
Yeah, to somebody. Just feel comfortable with somebody and feel that they can be vulnerable with somebody.
And just, being vulnerable is really hard for me.
It's very difficult.
I don't like it.
It's very hard.
I had tried to recognize it, though. Like, okay, this is a moment where I could be vulnerable. Do I do it? Or
should I?
Do I stay at home and hide? Like,
yeah.
But, yeah. I feel like she's pretty good at it. Like, she tells me if she's upset. Most of the time, like, I don't know, in the car while we're driving. She's like, Mom, kind of hurt my feelings when this happened. I'm just like, well, thank you for telling me.
Elon will just tell me, like, I'm pissed off at you. That's what she'll say. And I'm like, all right, so what went on today that made you mad? And it's something that I may not even think that made her upset in any way. And then she'll tell me, and I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. All right, maybe I should have handled that better. And then she'll say, like, well, I guess I could have been a little bit nicer, or maybe I could have listened or whatever, and then it's like over. Then I feel like once she's done talking about it, she's like, all right, glad I got that out. She'll say that, or I'm like, anything else bothering you? And she's like, no. And then I'm like, okay, well, tell me something happy that happened today. I try to turn it around like, yeah, that was a negative. Like, yeah, we could have handled that a little bit better. But it's hard since I'm at home all the time. I'm with her 95% of the time. So yes, Wes sees her every day, but he works every day.
Yeah.
So he's gone during the day. So when I'm dealing with, the meltdowns of the day, and then when he gets home, she's so excited to see him, and they hang out together all evening. She's in the greatest mood ever.
Yeah.
And he's just like, she's the best. And I just think in my head, like, you were not here at 3 p.m. Like, you were not here for that meltdown. Like, so she gets a little frustrated with me, but we do a lot of things together, and we have a lot of good days. We have hardly any bad days.
Yeah.
But she's very much like her dad. We butt heads sometimes, but it's very rare. It's just when you have those days, you have those days. Everybody has them. It's just part of it.
Everybody has those days.
Yeah, everybody has them. It's just part of it. You butt heads with your kids some days you don't.
Yeah.
It's just, just part of it.
I just hope that I don't ever do anything that, like, causes trauma.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes into our next question a little bit. Like,
I feel like that's hard, too, because we have different views.
You both know,
have different
like,
opinions.
everything that I do, I'm like, okay, is this going to cause her to grow up and act this way? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't. I hope that what I'm doing is the right thing.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like I'm doing the right thing.
That's hard. What are all of your, like, fears as a parent? Like, what's your biggest fear in being a parent?
I do have a lot of that fear of am I screwing all this up? Am I doing the right thing? But I also have a lot of fear, just the outside world.
Yeah. I know.
Getting to her, because you can only do so much as a parent.
Yeah. We can't control outside of our household. So
I'm hoping that, as a mom, that I can teach her, like, people come from all different backgrounds. So, and, like, the ways that they do it is different. And, like, I don't know.
I try to explain to Elin that we're a very open household, and all of our friends are very open in their relationships and with their kids. And even if they don't have kids, they're very open in their marriages and things. So that's okay to say the things you do. But some parents don't parent like that. Some people don't communicate like that. So sometimes I feel like the world is going to shock her one day. Like, she's going to say something and be judged automatically, but in her house, she wouldn't be judged like that. But we can't help the outside world. We can't help how other people parent or how other people live their lives. So
that building that confidence in your kid will help with that, because then they'll learn to stand up for what they value and not, hunker down. But like, oh, this person said that, so it's true.
Right. Yeah.
Because that definitely happened to me.
Right. Yeah.
Someone would call me a name, and I'd be like,
oh, well, yeah, that's true.
I guess I am that because you said it to be true. But I want her to stand up for that and know her truth and her worth
and who she is as a person. Just, yeah, for sure. I just don't want to ever lose me and Elin's foundation with each other. Just like our grounding, like, relationship, because I feel like I grew up with her. Like,
yeah,
I was like, I wasn't the youngest in the world, but I was young when I had her. So I had a lot of growing up to do, and I did it with her. So I feel like the decisions that I made were, I didn't know. I had no idea. And then as she got older, I feel like our parenting fears were kind of weird because we grew up raising children in a pandemic, raising children through, like, I mean, Elin didn't finish her preschool because of COVID.
Yeah.
She didn't, you know, like, I kept her home for kindergarten because I worked such a sporadic schedule that I don't know if that was the best decision, but she still is doing very, very well in school. And we worked really hard. You did what you thought was
right at the time.
I mean, we worked really hard, and she did really well. It's just, you know, but even, like, she's doing well in school now, so I feel like I did my job. But at the time, whenever I asked other people for opinions, they have never been through it. So they didn't know. They didn't know how to answer my question when I was like, should I keep her home? Like, it's not that I was afraid of COVID. I'm not afraid of COVID. I was afraid they would shut down school and open school and shut down school and open school. And my ambulance schedule didn't allow for that. I had to have a set schedule because of my work schedule. So that was a hard decision for me to make, a very emotional decision. But I didn't have anybody to turn to because they've never been through it. So that was really tough.
And then when I had to, since Nora's a year behind Elin, then it was my turn to put her in preschool, and I had no idea. Like, she didn't get to do any of the fun stuff.
Elin's first field trip was this year.
I wish that... I don't wish that I did it differently, but I don't know.
We didn't know what to do.
She didn't get to do her fun preschool stuff, so it just kind of sucked.
Yeah, I mean, we can't.
I didn't want to
handle how the world handled COVID, but I feel like as a parent, the decisions we had to make weren't fair. It was very hard, very, very hard.
I didn't want to send her to preschool. I taught her so much at home that she was pretty advanced, and she knew pretty much everything. When she went to preschool, she already knew it all. But everybody kept telling me, oh, you gotta send her for socialization and stuff. And I'm like, she's around kids all the time because our friends.
Yeah.
Everybody's got kids. Yeah. So I'm just like, I feel like she'll be fine. But I don't know. I listened and I did it anyway. And
I mean, we have such a solid
made
friend
a difference
group with so many kids that...
Yeah. And we meet once a week.
I mean, we see each other all the time, and our kids see each other all the time, so I feel like that probably, I don't know. I mean, Elin and Nora being an only child for a little while, and then you having Gavin. Elin's been an only child for, almost 8 years now. So it was a little weird when she went to school, but I feel like she socialized just fine. She'd never had any issues with friends or anything like that, so I feel like our friend group really did socialize her enough. But keeping her home for kindergarten, I mean, I don't regret the decision by any means, but I just hated that I had to make it in the first place. But I had to do what was best for us. Yeah. When I was working too. So
that's
I was a full-time kindergarten teacher, full-time mom, full-time wife, and full-time work. So, I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot in 1 year. But it just was so much work. It was so much work. I hated it, but we did everything we could. And she does well. So pat on my back, I just hated that I had to make that decision. I felt like I made it on my own.
Yeah, because our parents never went through that.
Our grandparents never, no one ever went through it, so you just kind of made those decisions and then you have on people the fly. Once again, we're winging it. Yeah. Just saying.
Winging it. I hate I didn't want to send Nora to school either because of the masks. I didn't want her to have to go through all that, but I just sucked it up and was like, well, you know what? Yeah. I didn't have time to do the e-learning because me and Brandon worked every day, every single day. So we just couldn't do that. And I had so many people just not in our friend group or family, but just random people telling me, oh, you should keep them at home. They're going to get sick.
But I feel like our child's education has been so screwed from the jump. Like,
I had to do what was best for me first.
Right. Yeah.
And then for my family second, because, when you have a hard decision, that's you have to do what works for you.
And what works for your family.
What works for the people around you. And then what works for the environment. There's like a whole process to making a decision.
Other people's decision is, it's great to have other opinions.
And it's not being selfish.
Yeah. It's not.
If you do it for
That's exactly what I was just going to say. It is not. Like, other people's opinions, I love hearing other people's opinions, whether I agree with it or not. Because it's just another outlook on something that I may or may not know. And I want to keep myself educated on as many things as I can. But there's a point where you just have to do what's best for you and your family. And that's just like part of it.
When I had such a anxiety about Nora riding the bus, but we finally just bit the bullet and stuck her on there because
that yet.
It just wasn't working with our schedule anymore, and it's so much easier just to put her on the bus, and then I can go straight to working because I work from home most of the time, so I can just jump on the computer and start working. But before, I had to get her up and drive her all the way to school, and and then when I was at the office, Brandon would have to do it, and it was just, he works nights. It was too much.
It was a lot. That was a really overwhelming time, I feel.
So, but I just didn't realize how bad it was affecting him until he told me finally, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was, that's a lot on him, working nights and then getting up and then getting
really
her,
is.
and then having Gavin at home too. Gavin doesn't go to school yet. Yeah, because that was the
part that was... He can go back to bed now. If he gets up and puts Nora on the bus, he can go back to bed until Gavin wakes up, and then he gets that extra little bit of sleep, and it's helped a ton.
I'm sure. I couldn't imagine working night shift and then getting up
at
again.
6 or 7 a.m. and
getting up and then, taking her to school and then coming back and then not being able to go to sleep.
Yeah, because then he'd have to,
that would be really tough. That's losing a lot of sleep. And then he goes back into work in the afternoon. So, that's a whole nother day for him. And then he's only off, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. And you guys have plans on the weekend most of the time because that's when you have family time. Yeah. So that would be tough, I feel like. Do you feel like the parenting role, gets dumped onto the mom most of the time? Or in your household, is it the opposite?
I feel... yes and no. When I'm home, when we're both home, I feel like I am the one to be like, no, that wasn't right. You shouldn't do that. And I don't know if it's, I think Brandon's just so laid back.
That's exactly how Wes is. Yeah.
It just doesn't bother him, so he doesn't see it as an issue, whereas I'm over here
Wes has no sense of anxiety in any way. He never gets overwhelmed. He never gets stressed. He just go with the flow in every way. And I am so opposite. I'm I'm overwhelmed. You need to give me a minute.
I get that sensory overload, and I just can't take it anymore. I'm I'm gonna lose my mind.
I need a minute. That's what I tell Elon. I'm getting overwhelmed. I need a minute here.
Have you heard of the phrase being touched out?
No.
It's I think of it more of stay-at-home moms with little kids, and the kids are climbing all over them all day, and
Can't
they're being touched, and then you go to bed at night, and your husband's
trying to touch,
rolling over and cuddling, and you're just leave me alone.
Yeah, get off me.
I'm touched out. Don't touch me.
I don't experience that yet because Elin doesn't. She's not up in my face.
Well, she's at school.
Right. And whenever she gets home, she wants to hang out, but by then I won't hang out because I've done all of my stuff for the day and I've been waiting for her. So I'm excited to see her whenever she gets home. But on the days that she's home all day with me and Wes is at work, there's days where I'm okay, I need a minute. You're driving me nuts. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, but then Wes, whenever he gets home, I'm like, I want all of his attention. Mm-hmm. I'm like, hey, how you been? How was your day? Like, I'll ask him a million questions so he has to answer me. But then he goes and plays with Elon, and that's my time to that's my me time.
Me and Nora kind of bump heads a little bit because when she's at school, Brandon's home. But when she comes home, Brandon leaves. Mm. So I'm her parent.
Right.
Every single day. I do it all. And I think at times she makes comments like, she said to me before that she likes Daddy better because... Ugh. But when he's off and home and they get to, like, play together
they miss each other. They have a chance to miss each other.
Yeah, I don't...
They don't miss Mom.
No,
they
I'm
miss
always
Mom when
there.
something's wrong. They miss Mom when, you know... I get that. I feel that.
And it
Elon
hurts,
misses Wes every day. Just misses him over and over and over.
It hurts when she says that, but I also know why she says it.
Yeah, she's not saying it because he loves, you know, she loves him more than you. Right. She's just saying it because she doesn't know how to express that she misses her dad.
Yeah, I get that. She just misses Daddy. That. And it makes me sad. But yeah, so for me, I do feel like it doesn't... I don't know if it gets dumped on me so much, but I do see it a lot in other people's relationships.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Very much so.
You know, the dad just comes in and yells, and that's the only thing he does. There's no discipline. There's no teaching moments, whereas the mom is usually the one teaching why we don't hit. Why we don't kick and fight and scream.
I see that in other relationships too.
And like, you need to be patient and those kind of things just kind of don't get taken care of by the dad.
Yeah, I get that. Do you think that your parenting style is more like your mom or your dad or like a family member?
I don't know.
Huh.
Because I see both sides sometimes. And I think my mom has a lot of impact on me because right now she's been going through the whole NLP practitioner and she like life coaching.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot from her. But before that, and before I did like a breakthrough, I think I was more... I don't know if I was like my dad, but I don't know.
I know, it's kind of a hard question. I feel like it's such a hard question to answer because okay, so before I had kids, okay, my parenting was based on my environment. I grew up with my mom and my dad in the same household. Then, when I met my birth family, shortly after I met them, a couple years, literally 2.5, 3 years, I ended up getting pregnant with Elon. And there were things that my parents did growing up that I didn't agree with, that whenever they would parent me, but I didn't understand what it was like to be a parent. So I didn't judge them on being a parent because I was never a parent. Well, now that I'm a parent, I just find it so funny because I do things a lot like my birth mom, like how she parents, which is so weird to me because I didn't grow up in that environment, but we are so much alike and our personalities are so much alike. Like it's in my DNA. Like, so the way that I handle things is a lot different than my mom and dad handled things. Not that they were ever bad parents, ever. I grew up in an amazing household. Like I had like a Hallmark story of a childhood. So I can't, like, they just did things differently.
Yeah.
And my personality is a lot different than them. I'm very outspoken, where my parents are very timid and they don't just speak their mind. And I could give a shit less if you like it or not. I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. You know, and that's kind of how Jamie is. And I see that in Elin. So whenever I parent her, I see my birth mom, you know, like
in her
parent, and I'm just like, I do that. Like, it's very interesting to me because I didn't grow up in that environment. So it's just odd to me that that's how I parent.
I feel like I mimic my grandma a lot. And that makes sense because, my grandma lived a half mile up the road and I was there all the time.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. The more I sit here and think about it,
it's just very odd. Like, you would think that your environment growing up would be how you parent, but then when you become a parent, I feel like you take other things from your life experiences.
I was a little bit rebellious, so I wanted to do everything different. So I would be like, I didn't like getting disciplined like that. So when I have a kid, but then when you have
it different,
when you have a kid, you
just don't know what you're in for as a parent.
It all changes.
The decisions that you have to make on a daily basis are different every single day. Every single day there is something else I'm like, oh, I probably could have handled that differently, or oh, okay, well, I didn't do too bad today, Yeah. So I feel like it's different, but I don't know. Do you feel like maybe not parent like them, but do you teach them or discipline like your mom or dad?
I feel like I do. Again, I feel like I do both. But I feel like I mimic my mom more.
See, I mimic my mom whenever I discipline. My mom, anytime we would get in trouble, anytime we would do anything stupid, and like she was mad at our decision, she would never be mad. She would just say, "It's okay." And we made fun of her all the time for it because all she says is, "It's okay." And that was just like her like saying like, "It's okay." And then like sometimes she'd get frustrated and be like, I'm disappointed, but it's okay. And I tell Elin, I'm like, like I'll yell at her for a second and then I'll be like, but you know what? It's okay. Like it's okay. And I feel like that's so funny because now I look at life and I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Like, it's okay. Shit happens. I tell that to Elin all the time. I'm like, shit happens. It happens.
I remember, this just came to me, but my mom would have that look.
Oh, it's a good look. My dad has
and
the look.
I do that.
Instantly. I'm like shuddering.
Especially when I see Nora at the corner of my eye and she's sneaking off to go do something, I turn around and I give her the look. I'm like, that's a mom move.
Yeah.
My mom used to do that. I remember it very distinctly.
Yeah. Now you grew up in, like, your parents are divorced. Mm-hmm. Mine just recently got divorced. So I didn't grow up in a household that ever went through a divorce until I was literally 28 years old. So I don't really know what living in a divorce. I'm literally navigating all of this. So I don't know what it's like yet. I'm still trying to sit with my feelings about it. But did you ever see your parents fight in your household? Like, did you feel like that was, like, did it traumatize you in any way or make you feel a certain way whenever you became a parent?
So my parents didn't divorce until, I think I was in 8th grade. But yeah, there was some fighting. And it's never fun to hear your parents or anybody, argue. But I feel like it's good to teach your children that healthy communication. And that's what I'm trying to learn myself and to teach my kids. And me and Brandon don't argue a lot, I would say. But so it's kind of hard to show them an example of that when you just don't have that. But I think it is definitely healthy for them to see it and learn how to handle critical conversations.
Right.
That's what I like to call it. That's what my mom calls them.
My parents never fought. I never saw them like fight. I mean, they bickered, but it's like, it was never like a fight. But me and Wes don't fight often either. But I also don't hide my feelings if I'm mad at him about something in front of Elin, because if I'm mad, I'm fucking mad. Mm-hmm. You know, and like we never, like, it's never physical, obviously, but it's always like if we don't agree on something, because me and Wes have very different views on some things, and it's just, he grew up in a lot different household. Like, he had a very, very different childhood than I did. So sometimes when we parent, it's a little different, but we don't necessarily fight about it. But if we do fight, it's just resolved. Like, we don't ever drag on a fight. It's just, we yell about it, we talk about it, and then it's over. I mean, it's like, we don't really go to bed angry about it. It's like, kind of just resolves. Now, if it still bothers me, I remember whenever I'm mad about something and I tell you about it, and you tell me, go to bed and wake up in the morning, and if it's still bothering you, then you need to talk about it. And I took that to heart so bad, because I do it all the time. I'm like, well, okay, maybe you're overreacting. Let's see. And then if I wake up and I'm still thinking about it in the morning, we're going to have a conversation about it, because I'm obviously not over it. And the same goes with him too. So if it's still bothering him,
I think
then
that's
we talk
a good
about
one,
it.
because I have this thing where I always tend to forgive way too easily, and then I just let it go, or I play it down like, oh, well, I didn't get that upset, so it must not be that big of a deal. But it really was. So I tend to kind of let go. Or
if you and Brandon like argue about like your parenting or discipline, like how do you come to a compromise about it?
I feel like what we do is, I feel like whatever I say, he's just like, okay.
Same. Same.
I don't mean to be like, well, whatever I say goes, but it's just, that's what happens. And I don't mean to say that I make all the decisions, but he's just like, okay, I'll do that.
We have came up with this new discipline thing for Elin, because she's in this new stage of like, let's test the waters here, you know, and like us taking things away from her were not working. Like taking away electronics, taking away like her movies in her room or whatever. We would take away a privilege. However, that stopped working. So what we do is, Elin there for a while did not want to tell us. She would eventually tell us the truth about something that happened, but she would fib, and we were not down with that at all. So now that she tells the truth all the time, sometimes too much. Sometimes we don't need to know the whole incident, but she tells us things, and then we make her punishment. And the last time she got in trouble, she took a pair of scissors to her jeans because she didn't think that it would cut them. Don't know how she thought that scissors would not cut her pants. However, she immediately got in the car, and I picked her up, and I looked at her pants, and I gave her one look, and I was like, you gonna tell me what happened at school today? And she was like, well, I took scissors and I cut my pants because I didn't think that it would work, and after it worked, I kept cutting. And I said, why? And she said, I don't know. And I said, okay. I said, well, whenever we get home, you can make your own punishment. And if we agree with it, then, you know. Mm-hmm. So she came up with her punishment, and she said that she wasn't allowed to go stay with Papa that weekend, and that she got her tablet taken away for the week. Mm. And she wasn't allowed to eat snacks in her room, because that's a big deal. We love snacks in our room. Oh, yeah. So because she didn't lie, we let her stay at Papa's that weekend, because we told her, you know, like, that's a very good punishment. Mm-hmm. And she was very, very upset about it. So I was like, you know, I'm not going to take away that time with Papa because you didn't lie. I said, now, if you would have lied, you're right. You would have not been going to Papa's. However, we want to teach her that lying is not a good thing. Mm-hmm. So, we're going to let you go to Papa's, but, you are going to get your tablet taken away for a week, and you are not going to have snacks in your room for a week. And that was a very fair punishment. She was still upset about it, mm-hmm. but she understood that lying would have got her in more trouble. So I feel like we come to an agreement after we let her make the discipline, and she's pretty harsh with some of her discipline. So, but that's what hurts her, and she knows that. So mm-hmm. she's like, I don't want to do that again because I'll do it again. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take away my tablet for a week but if it's not a good enough punishment and we don't feel like it's sufficient, we'll be like, mm-hmm. okay, well, I think that you may need to tack on a little bit more. Like, that's, 1 day without your tablet is not, that's not a punishment there, honey. A couple more days, or take away something else or whatever. Because then she knows that she made that decision. So we're not just like screaming and mm-hmm. your tablet's taken away for a week. She just does it herself.
She also has a thing with lying.
And I feel like it's such a phase in kids. Yeah. Like, they just do it.
Doesn't get the difference between lying and joking.
Yeah.
That's really hard. People be like, well, I was just joking.
Yeah.
But
as soon as they get in trouble, they're like, I'm joking.
Several times in a lie recently. And I don't think I did like any necessarily discipline on it. I called her out on it though.
Yeah, I feel like you have to. I was like,
you're not going to get away with that. I know you're lying to me. And I tried to explain to her, like, when you lie, it breaks that trust between us. And then what happens when you come and you need me and I think you're lying?
Right.
And I think that kind of stuck in her head, because now what she'll do is she'll come and tell me, like, I don't know, she'll tell on Gavin doing something. Like, I'm not lying. Mm-hmm. She'll tack that on at the end. I'm like, oh, well, good.
Dylan will start out with that, like, Mom, I ain't lying. But, and then she'll tell me like something that someone did at school. And she'll be like, I'm not lying. They did it, and I'm like, okay, like, I believe you, but I tell her, I'm like, I can't believe you if you lie to me all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't let you go and do fun things. I can't mm-hmm. let you go places without me because I'm afraid you're going to come back and lie to me. That breaks my heart,
I don't know if Nora's ever done anything like major and lied about it. So we haven't, but like the other day she grabbed something out of the kitchen, and right now she's big on like taking things and putting mm-hmm. them in her room because she thinks that I don't even know what she does with them. Just when I organize
she
her
just takes them.
I'll find all kinds of random stuff that's not hers, and like this was like a bucket made for popcorn.
Okay, that's very random.
And why
does she need that in her room?
She grabbed it real like sneakily and started tiptoeing off to the bathroom. And I saw her out of the corner of my eye and turned around. I was like, excuse me. I was like, where are you going with that? And she's like, oh, I was just taking it to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I was like,
bet you were.
I was like, do not go fill that up with water. I know that's what you're going to do. She's like, no, I was going to the bathroom to get the step stool so I could wash it in the sink in the kitchen. I said, I know you're lying to me right now.
Oh, every time. And then you're like, you want to change your answer? That's what I tell you. And I'm like, you have one more try. You have one more try to tell me the truth, or, you're going to be in trouble. And she'll be like, all right, well, and I'm like, was really that hard? Yeah. I'm like, was that hard? Like, you could have said it from the beginning, but now you're in trouble, and I don't want her in trouble. I hate lying. Like, I just hate it. Like, come on, just tell me. Like, I'm not going to say I never lied as a kid, but like, come on now. Like, we've been there. We done it. Like, We've done it. We got it. We understand. Do you feel like you discipline or parent differently in front of different people or different environments?
I 100% do.
Really?
I don't want to. But I
like, where do you feel like you parent differently? Like, the most different place?
Probably, like, if we're out in public or something.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
Or, I don't know, at, like, a family member's house where we don't go a lot, or... I feel like I try to... I don't know. I get nervous that I'm going to say or do something that person's going to, like, judge me for.
See, I feel so opposite. I feel like I don't change a damn thing. I
try not to. I don't want to do it differently. Who I am. I think I do that because I'm like, well, is this am I doing the right thing? I get totally caught up in it.
See, I feel so opposite about it. I just think, like, if you don't like it, fuck them. You know what I mean? If you don't like the way that I parent, then look away. Like,
yeah.
You know, because if someone came to my house that was a parent that I didn't know very well and you're just handling a tantrum differently than me, like, God forbid. All right, you do you. Like, as long as you ain't beating your kid, you know, and you're doing what's best, then, like, if that works for your kid, then that's what works. I'm not going to tell you how to handle your children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm not very consistent with my stuff, but I feel like it's also because I'm learning and, like, changing every day, and I'm trying to be a better parent than I was the day before. So I get, like, confused and like, well, is this right, or should I just let it slide this time? I feel like my parenting because changes it's not that big of a deal
through, like, different stages. Like, I feel like my parenting style, and even Wes's, like, changes in the different ages that she goes through. Because she gets into different things. She wants to know different things. I think that's normal. I'm sure it is, but, like, it makes me feel confused. Like you said, it's very, like, you just don't know how to... When a new stage comes, you just don't know how to handle it yet.
The tricky part... the tricky part, I'm curious what you think about this, because you're getting ready to have another one. Is the different... I'm very nervous. The different in age, you can't discipline them the same.
No.
So Nora always thinks I'm harder on her, and she'll say, like, that I like Gavin more, which... just gut-wrenching.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I love my children both, but I'm like, well... we had a talk the other day, and I said, well, do you want me to treat you like a 2-year-old?
She wouldn't like that.
You're 6.
Yeah, she wouldn't like that.
2. I am trying to treat you like an individual. Like, you're not the same as Gavin. You're not the same person. So you get different punishments, and it's like...
You're not the same age. You're not doing the same things. You're not hurt by the same things. I feel like that's hard to explain.
Trying to keep the individual, you know, I don't know.
Elin being almost 8 years older than this new baby, it's going to be a very big adjustment for her. But I feel like she's old enough to understand that their punishments will be different. Like, she's old enough. Like, she asks questions a lot, like, you know, you're going to need to give a lot of attention to the baby. And I think she's worried that I'm not... I really want to try to set it, like, a time just for us. And, like, leave the baby with Wes. Or, you know, I want to do things with just her. Or bring her over here to play with Nora. Because, like, we are going to give a lot of attention to the baby. Not because we love it more. Because it's a newborn. Because it needs... a lot more than what she
round
needs.
The clock attention.
Right. She needs, like, the baby will need a lot more than what she needs right now. And I don't want her to feel left out in any way. Because she still needs a lot of attention too. But it's in a different way.
That was one of my biggest fears when I brought Gavin home. It, like, hit me all of a sudden that, oh crap, it's not just me and Nora anymore. Like, we can't just pick up and go to Walmart like we used to. We have to take the baby with us. And at first she didn't like that so much, and she would get really jealous, and she still gets jealous, but I try to give them equal time as much as I can, because they both, they both love both of their parents. They want their attention from both. Like today, Gavin wanted nothing to do with me.
He was not in a good mood at all today, though.
No, he wasn't. I think he had a big day yesterday with the
did
and everything that we went to. But he was he just wanted daddy all day long. And I was like, I guess that he just needs daddy today.
Yeah.
So it kind of like gave me a day
he
off.
He has emotions at 2 years old too, that he just may need his dad for a minute. I just hope I can
like that they have that bond.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I have it too. Me and Gavin have a super strong bond, and so do me and Nora, and so do they with their dad. Like we're all really have
just
deep
really close
connections.
Yeah,
we do everything together. So
I just think it'll be weird because it's usually just the 3 of us, and now it's going to be the 4 of us. But Elin, her only concern about the baby is whenever we were putting the baby's room together, she got super emotional and she started crying, and I was like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Can you promise me something?" And I said, "Oh, it depends what it is." And she was like, "Can I help with the baby?" And I think she thinks that she's not capable of taking care of a baby, because all she hears is people say like, "Oh, your mom and dad are going to be up all night," or, and I'm like, don't tell her that, like she'll be sleeping when I'm up with the baby. Her sleep schedule is going to stay the same. Like that kid can sleep through a hurricane and sleep for 12 hours. She does not, if she could sleep all day and I'd let her, she would. So like her sleep schedule is going to be the same. Her school schedule will be the same. I'll still be at home, So it's like, I'm not going back to work after the baby's here. So, like, things will change, but she just wants to help with the baby, and I think she thinks that she's too young to help, because people tell her that. Like, people will tell her, like, "Oh, well, you can hold it," but we had somebody tell us, like, "Well, you can hold the baby if mom and dad are around, but, you're probably not old enough to feed it." And it's like, I'm gonna let her do what she wants to do, within reason, obviously, but I'm gonna let her help, like, she's almost 8. She's excited for this. She knows how. I mean, we were very open about our struggles with having a baby. Yeah. So she's pumped. Like, she's like, she tells us all the time that she's happy for us. So I want her to help as much as she wants to help. And if there's days she wants nothing to do with it, well, by God, go do your own thing. Like, you're almost 8.
That'll be just
you're
like
gonna do what you're gonna do.
A good cue for you guys that maybe we need to go have an Elin day.
And she's still gonna see Nana. She's still gonna see Papa. She's still like, we're still gonna let her do those things, So it's like she's not gonna miss out on anything. I think the sharing of attention will be a little bit of a kick in the ass for her, but I think she'll adjust okay. Yeah. I think she's old enough to understand at this point.
I had so much, like, when Nora was born, I didn't have that, like, bonding connection feeling to your, I didn't bond with her.
My postpartum didn't let me bond with anything.
I had never been around a baby that just cried so much. So I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't know how to be a mom to this baby.
It makes you feel like just a piece of shit mom.
But then, when she got to be like 2-3 years old, we were like best friends.
Right.
I loved it so much. And then I had Gavin, and immediately with him, it was different. And I had such a strong bond with him that I also almost felt guilty. Yeah. It was such a...
I'm very curious how...
It felt so weird to me, and I just felt guilty for having a stronger bond with him, but...
I feel like you're being too hard on yourself.
I am.
Because you're such a good mom, so it's just like, you would never know that
me
you
and
ever
Gavin
felt that way.
Have something... It's different. It's not better or worse.
Say.
It's just different.
I'm so curious how this baby will be.
Nora and we still have a great bond now, but I also have a really great bond with Gavin. And
I'm going to do after this baby. Wes decided that he's going to take off more work than what he did with Elin because I was just so unstable after I had Elin that I needed him there longer. And so he's decided to take off like a month.
Oh, wow.
Like 3 weeks to a month.
That's awesome.
I'm beyond thrilled because I'm going to need help. And when I had Elin, I didn't want anybody to help me. I want to do it on my own because that's what I thought being a mom was.
I was like, help me.
Would do it all on my own, and I sometimes didn't let Wes do things because I was like, I'm mom. I'm doing this, and that this time I'm taking the help. I am going to let the nurses help me. I'm going to let Wes help me. I'm going to let my friends help me because I was so mentally unstable with Elin that I never not felt a bond with her. I just felt like I was never going to be able to do it. I just felt like I'm going to be the worst mom. And I feel like every mom thinks that at some point, but I just, as immediately as I had her, I'm like, she deserves better than me. Like, that sounds terrible, but I felt that I wasn't going to ever be good enough for her. Because she deserves the world. So then as she got older, I'm like, you know what? I am a good mom. I need to realize that. Like, I am a good mom. And, like, I need to continue being a good mom for her. But I'm very curious how this is going to, after this baby, if I'm going to have postpartum again, if I'm going to feel like I did, or if I'm going to have a completely different bond, or if my labor is going to be different, I don't know, because my pregnancy's been so opposite from Elin. I can keep down anything I eat. It's awesome. That was great. But it's been, like, my pregnancy's been so different that I don't know how this baby's going to be, I don't know. I'm curious how it'll all play out. But I'm excited for it. I'm not excited for the postpartum. I don't want that again. So I hope I don't experience that again. But if I do, I'm taking the help. I'm not going to put myself through that again. I will get on medication immediately. I will make sure that I'm taking care of myself. And I'm going to make sure I fucking shower. Like, I'm going to take the help.
Oh, man, I remember.
There's other moms that are here to support me. And I know that now. I just didn't know that then.
I didn't know how to ask for help either because
I just didn't want to. I
just
wanted
didn't
to do
know
it on
how.
my own.
I wanted help, but I didn't know the words to say. And all I had to say was, like, will you help me?
Yeah.
But, like, at the moment, I was like...
You just don't feel like you should.
I feel like I'm dropping all these hints and, like, no one's helping me. Like, well, duh, Mariah, because you're not saying anything.
I'm very curious how it's going to be.
Stressed out with her. And then with Gavin, he was such an opposite baby. He slept. He was,
Elin was a piece of cake baby. She slept all the time. She still sleeps all the time.
The same with Gavin. They're very...
Yeah.
Gavin and Elin are very similar.
They very much
They're
are.
both Leos.
And their birthdays are a day apart.
Yeah. So I feel like that has something to do with it.
Yeah. I always say, if I'm going to be induced, I'm going to pick your birthday so that they're exactly like you, so that I'll get along with them for the rest of my life,
Nora's an Aries.
Well, that's why we get along so well.
We do.
We do get along really well. I absolutely just adore your children.
She's definitely an Aries.
She is a Spitfire, that's for sure.
She's very strong-willed.
She is a very strong-willed kid. Do you feel like parenting today is different than, like, generations past?
Yes.
Agreed. 150% agreed.
We kind of, like, touched on it with the pandemic thing, but even before that, I feel like there's so much, like, parenting advice and, like, I don't know.
I think of my grandma's generation.
It's so
like
different.
Raising children. I can't imagine raising children in my, like, the way that she parents is so different than how I would parent ever. But, like, that's how she was raised. Is that because of the
generation, or is that just because of her views?
I don't know. I honestly don't know, because I feel like most of them all have this, like, your grandma and my grandma, I'm sure they could sit in a room and hang out all day. Yeah. You know? So I feel like they parent a lot the same. But I don't what see makes their parenting.
Different is just the ever-evolving styles, and there's new styles out all the time, like
there's new things in the world. There's new technology. There's new, like, things that we never had growing up.
Speaking of technology and, like, tablets and phones and stuff, I don't know what our parents and grandparents did without those, because
it's what we know now. Like, I give, like, screen time. Don't get me wrong. Like, she has screen time. I mean, she loves to play with her toys. Mm-hmm. But she loves her tablet. Like, both that thing's the almighty. Like, she loves it. You take it away, it's game over. Like, she's pissed.
I think Gavin has a little bit of, like, anxiety in large crowds, definitely. And that became apparent to me, like, just yesterday.
He was very overwhelmed yesterday. But it was a lot of people. I was very overwhelmed in there.
Yeah.
That was a lot of people. Oh my gosh.
So I think having the tablet or my phone and letting him sit there and just chill out with it.
Yeah, he was okay. It was like he was in his own zone.
I'm okay with that because at least he's not throwing a tantrum. And
I mean, I feel like his tantrum yesterday was, like, well deserved though. Like, there was a lot going on. There was a lot of, like, oh my God, it was loud. There was a microphone. It was a lot. It was a lot for me.
Of people.
When I was sitting up there, I did not want to go back down where all the people were. I was like, I can't. Like, I need a minute.
As much as I love my kids, there were too many kids.
There were so many. Oh, so many. And I'm just looking around at all these parents that are cool, calm, collected, walking around with their kids, and I'm like, I would have lost my shit already. No way.
I was on the verge. I was almost like,
I was just so ready to leave whenever we did. I was like, let's go. Like,
I was ready before then. We didn't win the
raffle, so I'm out. Like, I'm gone. Like, I gotta go. I was not thrilled. I didn't like it. But I did, someone requested that we talk about religion and parenting. And if you should take your children to church or force faith or religion on them in your household.
So we went to church when I was little, like, I don't know, kindergarten-ish, but we didn't go, we didn't keep going. My mom was a part of the church for a really long time, and she helped do, like, the vacation Bible school and all that stuff. But after a while, she kind of stopped doing it, and then we just didn't go to church anymore. And my dad, he was a farmer, so, I mean, he never really went to church either, and he was working a lot. So it was just me and my brother and my mom. Well, then Austin didn't want to do it anymore. So we just eventually it trickled off and we stopped going. But so to this day, I don't have a huge religious side. But I do want Nora, well, and Elin, they both went to a Christian preschool. Mm-hmm.
But so it wasn't really
learned about Jesus.
I mean, they didn't really harp on it though. It wasn't like I feel like it wasn't forced in any way. It was
it was just very educational.
Yeah. I feel like their preschool teacher was super about, like, their education more than their faith side of anything.
So, like, Nora has questions about it, and she'll ask me, and we'll kind of talk about it. But I always tell her, like, you know, there's other religions, and you can do, you can believe whatever you want.
Right. That's what I mean by exposing Elon to every different religions, different backgrounds, because I'm not religious. I mean, we went to church. My dad's very religious, and he's a very diehard Christian. And I feel like whenever I was younger, it was forced on me to feel a certain way about Christianity. And I just never understood it. Whenever I went through confirmation, I was kind of forced to go through confirmation. It was a thing that you did. And I
never did that.
I didn't believe it. I felt like I didn't get anything from it because I didn't know what I was doing. I feel like it was forced on me to feel that way and shoved down my throat to the point that now I have nothing to do with it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just don't, that's not the way my mindset is. That's not how I view the world. So, I mean, there's some people that view it in a, that kind of way. I just don't. And I let Elin go to, church every once in a while with my dad. But she doesn't go and come home with questions. She goes to hang out with her friends. You know, she goes because it's fun for her.
Yeah.
But I don't have a religion necessarily, but I don't agree with, if your family goes to church, you go to church. Your child's either going to believe in it or they're not. Mm-hmm. But you need to be open as a parent that they may not believe the same things you do just because you go to church. That's not, they can believe in anything. Mm-hmm. And there's millions of different kinds of religions in the world. So if that's not what they choose, or if they choose not to have a religion, it's they're going to choose what they're going to choose, whether you force them to go or not. But if you force them to go, I feel like you're kind of asking for them not to be susceptible to other things because they feel like it's been forced. But I don't know. I'm not going to say I don't believe, but I don't know.
I don't know either. I just know. Kind of...
I don't let myself open. I try to be open-minded about religion, but I just can't picture it in my head. I can't. My mindset, my realistic mindset does not let me go forward in a faith. I find church so hypocritical that I don't like it.
I think that I don't believe that you have to go to church.
Right. Yeah.
To believe in God and to pray and worship. I feel like you can do that at home. Because I pray once in a while, and because it makes me feel good, and if I'm going through something really difficult, it helps. But I don't practice it with my kids at all because I want them to do what they want to do. Right. So.
I just felt like every time I went to church, it was so hypocritical that I can't get behind that. I can't get behind I go to church every Sunday, but, I'm out here at the strip club, the next week. I just can't, you say all these things, and I feel like, especially whenever I was pregnant with Elin and Young, and I would go every once in a while because my dad does random sermons at the church and whatnot. So he's really involved in it. So I would go to support him.
Yeah.
But immediately I was just judged. Immediately. Well, are you going to get married? Oh, you better get married. And it's leave me the fuck alone. I'm sorry. You are at church and you're judging me. I just don't like the way that.
I don't either.
It's so hypocritical to me, and I don't agree with that. They'll be worshiping on Sunday, but Monday morning talking shit about the person they sat next to. That's not okay to me, and I can't get behind it, so I don't want my child to be forced into it. But she also doesn't ask.
Yeah.
She doesn't ask. Oh, the only thing she does is come home and tell me she got to see her friends. And she got, donuts and cookies and whatever, and they feed my child a bunch of sugar. Okay. Glad you had a great time. And I ask her if she has questions, and she never does. So I'm if you ever have questions, or want to know, tell me. But if you don't, then you don't. It is what it is. But someone requested it, so that's how I feel about it is.
Yeah, I feel like
they can believe what they want.
I feel like our generation doesn't. Anyway. doesn't have a lot of, I don't know, when we were in high school, I was in the, I don't even remember the club, Bible club or whatever.
What?
And
I forgot about that. That's like unlocked a core memory. I don't remember that at all.
I was only in it for like a couple years, and then
I didn't even know we had one, to be honest.
We
had a Bible club? Shut up.
We went on a mission trip.
Oh my God, why do I not know this?
And like we helped, I remember this one, we helped lay like paneling in the guy's house because he was disabled, and I thought that was amazing, but I didn't do it because of the religious part of it.
Yeah.
I didn't do it because I was in Bible club. I did it because I learned that I really love power tools and hanging paneling. Because the guy...
I really like power tools.
And I like helping people too.
Oh
but
my God.
That like unlocked something in me where I was like, man, I really like...
Yeah.
I can do some stuff with a hammer, man.
Oh my God. What? I feel like every question I ask you, I know the answer to, except for that.
I threw you for a curveball there.
I didn't go to Bible school or Bible club because of religion. I went because I'm good with tools. Okay.
I did. I wanted
Way to go.
I thought that was awesome because, like, the guy...
I mean, it's great that you helped people. That's wonderful. Like, I'm so proud of you, but I'm so sorry I didn't know that. But at the same sense, like, the things I can do with a hammer.
Girl, you should see me hang a picture on the wall.
Shit. I'm gonna have you come drill stuff in my house. Ooh, that sounded dirty. I didn't mean it like that. I did not mean it like that. But, I mean, either way, that's
I
funny.
do know how to use a drill.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
But that was the best part for me, was learning how to do stuff like that. Because
I feel like that's a valuable tool to know, though. But it's just interesting that you were in Bible
he
club
showed me how to like measure
for
with a tape measure. He showed me how to use a saw, like a table saw.
That's
cool. Really cool. I loved it
that's
so
very
much.
cool. Wes and his construction ass would be real proud of you.
Oh, I love it.
That's fantastic. I don't know why I didn't know that. 20 years, man, and I never knew that. I never knew
I was only in it for like a year or two, like maybe senior year.
Jesus Christ, I feel like that's a long time for me not to know.
And I did it because Brandon...
Or maybe I did and just forgot. I don't know.
Brandon was really into it. And I wasn't, but I wanted to like be there for him. So I was like, well, I'll join it and see what it's about. And...
Yeah, I mean, my dad does Bible groups.
But like I said, I like helping people, and I like, we had at the end, when we did the mission trip, we had like a big dinner for the whole town, and
that's
all
fantastic.
of us, like,
oh my gosh,
like, we served all these people food, and we helped clean up after, and that's when I learned, it's like, I like helping people.
Yeah.
And
oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
But it wasn't
religious based for you.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm ever going to give Elin, if she wants to know about religion, that's fine. But I want to expose her to all religions, because that may not be the one that she goes with. Mm-hmm. So that would be my answer on it.
That's
to the person who requested it. I just don't. It is what it is. They're gonna learn, they're gonna believe, or they're not.
So, just for a closing statement, I guess, do you have any advice for future moms and dads?
Just that being a perfect parent isn't real, and it's
That's
okay
true.
to not be a perfect parent. It's okay to not agree with your parents' decisions. It's okay to not agree with the world's decisions on parenting. Every parenting style is different.
I think my advice would be trust your gut.
Yeah. Go with what you think is right.
Do what's right for you and your family.
Mm-hmm.
If it feels wrong, like,
It probably
explore
is.
that.
Yeah,
like it might not be the right decision for you. And I always think of as long as you have your kids' best intentions or in mind.
Very much so.
You can't go wrong.
And I take the support. Reach out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, reach out to other moms, reach out to other dads. Just take in other inputs too.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, do what's best for you.
Right.
But, make sure that you expose yourselves to other parents and other parenting styles, because your kid's going to change and you're going to change and your relationship's going to change and your whole life's flipped upside down when you have a child. So, it's all about communication. Mm-hmm. And just be the parent that you need to be, not for anybody else, just for you and what's best for you and your child, because your child's different than any other child in the world. They're all different. They all need different shit. They all do.
They are all different for sure.
Yes.
All right, guys, thanks so much for listening, and don't forget to share with all your friends. If you have any feedback or would like to suggest a topic you would like us to discuss, shoot us an email at thequeensandmomjeans@gmail.com. We are open to all suggestions and feedback. We have lots of exciting discussions coming up, so stay tuned. Bye!